Welcome back, David Hertel in for Elias. Well, the first full session at the National Assembly just ended this morning in Quebec City since the election of the new CAQ government. To review this first session and the highlights and what is left to be done from the Quebec Liberal Party, the member for Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, Desiree McGraw. Desiree, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, David.
So you're in Quebec City right now?
I am in Quebec City. I just literally left the Salon Bleu to come and see. It's just wrapping up
Just
now.
wrapping up. Yeah, it ends at noon on the last day of the session. Thank you so much for taking the time. So first full session as an M&A, how did it feel?
It felt like my first year in a new school.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of learning, lots of new people, new processes, new procedures, making new friends, so a lot of learning. I really liken it like my second son started high school this year, and I feel like when he started his first year of high school, I was starting my first year in the National Assembly. So just taking a lot, very intense, as you know, as you well know, David, Quebec politics is not for the faint of heart. It's an extreme sport. But lots of learning and truly a privilege. I know it sounds cliche, but it really is a privilege to serve in this way and to serve my community and NDG.
Absolutely. It is a privilege. So you are, amongst many responsibilities in the official opposition, you're official opposition critic for the environment and climate change. So let's jump right into it. Your reaction to the Legault government's response to the forest fires.
I think too little, too late. We've been warned about this for a long time, David. As you well know, as a former minister with these files, we're late to the game, too little, too late. Experts have been warning us about this for some time. There's been a whole bunch of planetary procrastination happening for decades. As you know, I've been involved in these files myself for about 30 years. And so, now we're in response mode. We need to be walking and chewing gum at the same time, which means we need to be adapting to climate and investing heavily in adaptation while at the same time doing our utmost to mitigate its very worst impacts.
So this spring, difficult to say the least for the Liberals. The loss of Saint-Henri-Sainte-Anne in the by-election, that was surely not good news. There's been a lot of criticism directed at the Liberals, especially from the English-speaking community, on the reaction to the application of Bill 96 last week. The whole controversy surrounding the City of Montreal website, 311, it seems there's a perception that the Liberals aren't there really defending Anglo rights. The polling on the Francophone side is not getting better. How do you see things shaping up, especially that we have yet to hear from the Liberals on when the leadership race will take place?
Oh my goodness, there's so much there, David. Where to start? I mean, yes, look, I fully acknowledge and we fully acknowledge that we are in rebuilding and relaunching mode. This is what we're doing. So there's no question we're in a difficult position. Things have not been easy for some time. I would say, though, being a group of 19 M&As, we're working very hard to fulfill our role in opposition. And I personally signed up to be a strong voice for my community on a number of issues, including minority rights. I'm passionate about that, and I think we have, in fact, spoken up. Unfortunately, the traction, we don't always get the traction in the mainstream media and in either language, and not to blame the media, but we actually have been out there speaking about this. So I would encourage people to follow our social media and some of our statements. But look, absolutely, we can do better. I said that during the campaign, and I say it now, we take nothing for granted. The English-speaking community is a core part of who we represent, and there are no second-class citizens, voters, or MNAs. And I can attest, and I think my colleagues can attest, that I am a strong voice in caucus for our community and for minority rights. So we're following closely, and we've invited citizens, if they are experiencing some of the intended and unintended consequences of now Law 96, to please reach out to us as MNAs. We are following this closely.
So,
and of course, we're the only party that voted against Bill 96.
No, I understand. But at the same time, I get the sense, okay, I understand the question. It's difficult to get media attention. But at the same time, there seems to be a perception problem, which was maybe made more evident a couple of weeks ago when you had your Conseil Général in Victoriaville. There seems to be factions within the Quebec Liberal Party right now on where to go. Apparently, some people are saying the Liberals aren't nationalist enough and not tuned in to the issues of the Francophone population. Anglos are saying, well, we don't see you, we don't hear you enough. And on the other side, you seem too close to federalist. I mean, there seems to be a real philosophical divide here within the party. How do you feel?
Well, I think that is exaggerated, not by you, but by reports. The Conseil Général actually was a great vibe. It was a great feeling. There were a couple of people who spoke up, who got lots of media attention, and unfortunately it skewed the perception of what I think actually happened there. I think we actually have quite a bit of agreement. As you may know, about a month ago, we hosted an NDG along with Westmount at St. Louis. 100 people came out on a Monday night to talk about renewing the party. We're very clear on what those values are of federalism and for rights and freedoms and strong, sustainable development. Those are clear. Certainly, I'm very clear on what our values are, and I reject the premise, as proposed by the Legault government, that these things are mutually exclusive, that somehow promoting French and the Francophone majority means abrogating the rights of minorities. That's the approach they've taken, clearly, and I reject that outright. We need to promote and protect French while promoting and protecting minority rights. These two things need to stand together. And it's Liberals who often do, yes, have more nuanced positions on these things because we are the progressive center, because we are not extremists. Sometimes those nuanced positions are more difficult to communicate. And I agree, David, we do need to be more proactive in our communications, including with the English-speaking community.
I'm running out of time. My last question is about the leadership race. Any idea when we'll know when it'll take place? I mean, it seems to be a great mystery.
Well, listen, my understanding, there is a committee that's been struck to come out with the rules, and I believe they'll be coming out with the rules later this year or early 2024. And then we'll have clarity around the timing. And of course, there are different schools of thought. Should this be done sooner? Should this be done later? Advantages and disadvantages. So the party is looking at all of this. And in the meantime, David, we are, doing the best to do our work as you know, a small but fierce group of MNAs, both in the National Assembly and now with the session wrapped up. I can't wait to get back in my riding and more time with my family. And just June is a super busy month. Lots of things happening. I'm sure I'm going to get an earful from folks. And that's where I take my cues, because my purpose is to represent my constituents first and foremost. And we'll see what happens with leadership, but we've got to be able to do these two things at the same time. We've got to be able to hold the government to account, represent our communities, and, when the leadership rules come out, that'll obviously take up a lot of oxygen.
All right. Going to leave it at that. Thank you so much, Desiree, for your time.
Thank you, David. Have a great day.
You too. Desiree McGraw, Liberal member for Notre-Dame-de-Grâce.